welcome back to another D2 special. This is going to be our third and final one for Spy Family for this, for a little bit because second season comes out in October. But, it's the two Ds here, Daniil, myself, and Daniel.
Mhm.
And he's going to go ahead and take over and hit on the first point we want to talk about today.
All right. So after where we left off in the last episode of the D2 special, this one starts with Yuri still trying to get Lloyd and Yor to kiss to prove that they're married. And this is where we kind of see Yor switch her brain from thinking like normal to like, okay, I need to do this for the mission, right? So she kind of takes over because Lloyd was going to kiss her, and then Yor got drunk and then kind of like pushed Lloyd
Down the
down and was
bottle.
gonna kiss him. Yeah, and then Yor eventually just decided that she couldn't kiss Lloyd because she's nervous or whatever.
Well, no, she got stopped by Yuri because you see a flashback of, I want to marry you when I'm older.
Hmm.
And then he runs at her. Lloyd ducks because she swings and she knocks him across the room for the first
Yeah,
of like three times.
and you kind of realize that Yuri is a little bit of a weirdo
Oh yeah,
because he's super protective over his sister and wants to marry his sister and can't see his sister with another guy, which I think is pretty weird. But we also realized that Yuri was gonna wiretap their Lloyd and Yor's house.
which we see
But
Lloyd say. He checks. He said doesn't look like it was bugged.
mhm. And we also realize, or we also see that Yuri didn't bug the place because he didn't want to hear Yor and Lloyd making love.
Yes, because when Lloyd said when he checked, I was like, oh, but he not find it. So that kind of was in the back of my mind. But then it confirms pretty quickly that he said, oh, I didn't wiretap it. Why didn't I? And then he's like, oh, I couldn't go through hearing those noises.
Hmm.
So you find out he's a weirdo. And that moves us into what I think is another day at school. No, there, Anya is going to school, but you focus on Lloyd and Yor for the day. And Yor's down because feels like she's failing. And then Anya makes a point, says that, your cooking's bad. And they didn't say who cooked it. Anya just knew that it was yours, obviously, or being a telepath and everything.
Hmm.
But when Yor leaves, she's on her way to work, and when she gets to work, she's down, telling her coworkers. But Lloyd bugged her shirt, put it right underneath her collar. So he heard everything that was going on, and he needed to confirm that she didn't know that Yor knew what Yuri did, because she just thinks that he works for the government. I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
he's the government official. He doesn't know that he's in the SSS. So Lloyd and Scruffy make it a point
What a
to
guy.
go and put on new faces and act like they're in it. And Lloyd is like, okay, we're gonna have a script. If she confesses, like, oh, my brother's in the SSS, then he'll get off. But if not, then he'll know. But then if she doesn't do that, then it'll confirm that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And they start interrogating her. At first, Scruffy didn't want to do it, and then he gets real into it. And
Yeah.
it's the point where Yor's about to body them up because she thinks that they're gonna hurt her family.
Hmm.
And both families, Yuri and Lloyd and Anya. So she said whatever she have to do to protect them, that she'll do. And they're like, oh,
We also kind of learned that the SSS give special protection to the family members of their members,
yeah,
right?
they made the point to say that, try to get her to use it
Hmm.
to get out.
Yeah,
So
and after Yor kind of says that she'll do anything to protect her family, and she kind of threatens both Scruffy and Lloyd. She said, like, even if it's you two, like, I'll do anything to protect my family. And Lloyd looks at the letter again and is like, oh, this was the wrong cipher. This was the caterpillar cipher. This is about like hemorrhoid cream or whatever, not espionage.
and that it was coded so that because it was medical
Hmm.
sensitive information about a high. It wasn't a government official, like her boss or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah, and Lloyd kind of realizes after all that Yor doesn't know about his brother or her brother's occupation. So he meets with her walking home, takes the bug out of her shirt, and kind of like relaxes a little bit, realizing that he's not in that bad of a situation.
And lets her know because he said that it's not gonna be word for word, but he kind of says that nobody's because she says that she's failing, and she said that
Hmm.
everybody's playing a role, and you're doing great as a mother and as a wife, and kind of eases her. And then Anya made a point to tell them to get along before she got on the bus, and Lloyd's like, "We're not fighting." And then when she gets home, she says, "Yo, you guys are getting along again," and he still says, "I don't know what you talking about. When we were never fighting." But
Hmm.
that's kind of how that chapter wraps up, at least in
Yeah,
the
I thought it was
manga.
kind of interesting what Lloyd said. He said that people who play roles as other people for too long get exhausted
Hmm.
and they get worn out. But that's all Lloyd does. Is his whole job is playing the role of another person.
Exactly, and he tells her to just be herself.
Hmm. And
But
we are kind of seeing progressively through the story that Lloyd is getting a little exhausted and kind of worn out from, always changing identities and changing
mhm.
his lifestyle.
And I think that what we're seeing right now is Twilight. I think that's his real self. I think how he's
Hmm.
acting with Anya and Nord that they're kind of coming around. And we did miss a small point. Just go back to it for a second. When when Yuri left, like, okay, let's go to sleep. And then they walk into the room. They had it set up for both of them. And then Yuri said in separate beds, of course. So I thought that was a funny little spot.
I thought it was pretty funny when Anya woke up the next morning and she like
She
read
was
Lloyd's
lost.
mind and saw or heard that the guy was part of the SSS and she was like, "Why did you wake me up? I
They
wasted
say
all my excitement."
she was sad.
Yeah.
And then Yuri's like, we'll see him again soon. Which I think
Yeah,
Lloyd's
because at
probably
first
fine
she
with.
was just like, "Who? Like, who came?" And then she heard, she read Lloyd's mind. She's like, "Oh, Unky, I wanted to meet him." Blah blah blah. It was pretty funny.
Oh, she also woke up when he got hit against the wall and said, Atomic bomb?
Yeah, is the world
Passed
ending?
back out.
Yeah,
But what? The next chapter would be the dodgeball game, correct?
dodgeball. Yeah,
I believe. I can confirm just so we're not going out of order too badly. Yep. It's the dodgeball game. You can take that one over.
yeah. So the dodgeball game is probably my favorite part of the whole series so far, just because you get this whole training arc with Yor and Anya beforehand, and I think it shows how awesome Yor is because she's like launching a dodgeball, breaking trees in half and stuff.
Do you see that?
In the anime, you do. They show like a whole training arc.
Okay, my bad. Continue then.
Yeah, and Anya gets super prepared for it. And she's like, "I got a special move that mom taught me." And you meet Bazooka Bill, who is part of a different class, and he's like the head general's son, and he's just like way taller than everybody else and super strong, and everybody's scared of him. But you know, during the game, you also realize that Bazooka Bill is like pretty intelligent because he is just like hitting four people at once because he can like bounce the ball off people at certain trajectories and stuff.
Mhm.
And the whole time, everybody's thinking we can get a Stella if we're MVP. Which, if you get 8 Stella, you're part of the Imperial class.
Yep.
And everybody, well, pretty much just Damien and Anya are gonna try their hardest because they heard a rumor that you can get a Stella. So Damien the whole time is trying to knock out everybody he can, but Bazooka Bill is he's just too OP, and he's just catching every ball that Damien throws him. Damien's little group, it shows. I don't know if it showed in the manga Damien's group's training sequence,
No,
but it
there was
showed them
no
like,
training, so glad we are going about it different ways.
hmm
I
yeah, in
want
the
you to
anime,
explain that.
their training sequence it showed Damien and his two friends like climbing a huge cliff, and then one of his friends falls off because a rock breaks, and then it cuts to like them on the playground climbing like a little set.
Oh,
It
so
was
it
a
was
pretty
like
cool switch.
acting like it was. That's because it's like the imagination of a kid. You're climbing it, but you're really
Yeah.
just having fun.
And then Damien was trying to catch this like huge plasma orb that was flying at him, and then it cuts to him like hanging onto a tire, like a tire swing.
Mhm.
So I thought it was pretty funny, the imagination compared to like what was actually happening.
And that's one thing I obviously like reading the mangas more, but that's one thing that animes do that makes it like I see why people would prefer to watch it because that didn't happen. It just talks about how yours like, oh, we got to get training then, and then it cuts to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, yours like launching the ball across the pond and it was like splitting the water on both sides. She was like it was pretty good animation for their training sequence. But during the game, Damien can't do anything, and him and his friends are doing like these weird formations to try to like hide where the ball's being thrown, and uh, it was pretty interesting tactics.
The game was, from what you're saying, it sounds like they did. It was a lot more in depth
Hmm.
because and it was just one chapter, 22 pages, and for the most part, all you see is Bazooka Bill. It explains his background, how he's definitely like 26 years old, but that's it is what it is. To me, he's
uh,
26, and you have, and then it goes to this him throwing 4 people out. Talks about how he's smart, and then he aims for Anya. After he gets a girl out, he says that he takes it easy on girls. But then he's going for Anya, and she obviously can read his mind. He jumps, moves her
hmm.
right arm, and then he's like, "Oh, if you keep dodging, this is the perfect move for someone who's squirming around." So then she's just staying still.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go into the formations and all that. It's from what I remember, missing it,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, because it showed Bazooka Bill's trading too, and he was like researching on the computer how to like throw the ball perfectly, and
no,
like he spent hours throwing balls and hitting multiple targets and stuff.
none of that. Like, maybe that's because this volume did seem like the everything that happened could have episodes. So maybe that's how they got to that 4 episode
Hmm.
mark. So
Just kind of added some filler in here and
yeah,
there.
but I mean it's good. Say that. But I would like to have seen that, but like I said, it didn't show any of that actual manga. It just
Hmm.
showed that, and then she's down in a vulnerable spot. Damien hops in front, trying to get him out. Then
Bazooka Bill throws with all of his power and yells "die," and Damien saves Anya.
so yeah, he hops in front, saves her. She gets up, like, oh, I'll avenge you. This is my time. Get this MVP. Builds it up, and for what it looked like in the drawing, it looked like she had a good throw. Just released it mad late, and it went into the
Hmm.
ground.
Which in the anime, it compares like it cuts back and forth between Anya's throw and yours throw, and they do the exact same motions, like kicking their leg in the air, and it shows or it says that yours says the key to throwing the ball is to throw with your entire body.
It does have that, but I'm pretty sure for that one, it's Anya remembering that. It doesn't show
Hmm.
your by recall, but yeah, it has like it's not in text bubbles, but it's her thinking
Yeah.
about that, and then she hits the arrow of the light, sees the star.
Yep.
The longest name for something that went straight into the. And the
Straight into the
drawing looked
ground.
great. It looked like it was about to
Hmm.
be something amazing,
Yeah,
and
the
then
animation was really good too.
because it looks like it rips into the ground and then kind of paddles across,
Yeah. And
and
then
then
Bill just tosses and knocks her out.
And then I like how they're like, "Oh, Bill's gonna get started." He's like, "This is just a normal day of class. Like, you're not
Yeah.
getting started
It's
for this."
like, who told you you're gonna get a star for playing dodgeball?
And then he did make a point like how these guys put their differences aside. The losing team, because Anya and Damien are on the same team, just try to win the game. Here's, oh, that's all that was. Damien's attacking her for final throw and everything. And he's like,
Hmm.
or they didn't. But at the time of the game, I mean, they did. Damien hopped in
Yeah.
front. Anya wanted to save him. So, and then
Yeah, and Bill was given a bolt for yelling die
was
because
he,
that's not
or did
elegant.
he say that he was that if anything desert? I will
No, he was given a
I
bolt.
will consider. It doesn't confirm it in the show,
Oh, in the
in the
anime, I'm pretty
series.
sure it said.
So he
It said
says,
he would
"I
give
will,
a bolt
however,
to somebody.
consider awarding you a tourist board for failing die at a fellow student."
Maybe it said that, yeah.
Okay, that's what it said here. I don't know why they would change that if they did. I don't make
Hmm.
sense, but so with that, we go to chapter 16, which is second to last one, and it's Lloyd sitting there looking at all these Fs on like 4 or 5 different tests, and then Anya is sitting there all grumpy watching TV, and he
Yeah.
said, "We got to study." She said, "I'm busy," and then he goes pick her up, and then they have their little back and forth, and then it comes down. And he's like, "Okay, we'll see what you excel at. I can't force you. It's a long going one, so we'll go try
Hmm.
volunteering." She was terrible. Something went wrong everywhere she was.
See, in the anime, did it show the different things that Anya could get stars in?
It said,
Because
I can go to the next chapter real quick.
Lloyd sat Anya down and he's like, "Well, there's many different things you can get stars in, so let's try like music," and gave her like a violin
Yep,
and
it.
she
I
broke all
completely.
the strings on
Yep,
it.
I forgot about that because in
Let's
the
try art. She drew a giraffe and she's like,
no, it
"No,
was a
it's a moo
cow.
cow." Yeah.
Say it was a cow. He thought it was a cheetah or
Oh yeah.
something else. Yeah, it was. He thought it was a cheetah or a panda. Nope. And then she
Hmm.
tried sports, couldn't vault over the vaulting box. Was just whipping the tennis racket back and forth. It doesn't say the strings broke. She's just holding it like this and going back and forth.
See, in the anime, she was going back and forth, and then every single string broke on the violin.
No, actually, you can see it. Yep, it does say snap,
Hmm.
snap. So 2 of them broke in this. So then jumping rope, and then Anya was, Yor tried to get her to jump rope. Just didn't work. And she said can hear the doubt in Lloyd's mind. She looks at him all stern. Gonna work really hard, Papa. But can you get me out of this first? Because she was all tangled up in
Hmm.
the jump rope. So then they try
Yeah.
volunteering, where she gets sent to do. Let me see. What was it first? She had to do
It
locker rooms.
was cleaning the locker room, I believe.
Yeah, and then she broke 2 things.
Hmm.
And then they did library. She should read manga, which I don't blame her. I would
Yeah, I
be
know.
doing that too.
A good way to spend your time.
And she said, "I'm tired of. I don't want to clean. I want to go be the person who hands this stuff in surgery." So she bolts out, and then she gets in
I
trouble.
thought it was pretty funny too. It says no running in the corridor sign, and
Mm.
she's just like booking it down the corridor.
So yeah, she took off to try to find the surgery, and that gets her kicked out. She's feeling bad, and then there's a kid going to physical therapy that was gonna be swimming, and he
Hmm.
falls in. She hears thoughts of somebody talking, saying that he needs help, and he's gonna die, and all this. So she tells Lloyd, and like, "Hey, someone's drowning." He's like, What are you? Like, how do you know
Yeah,
this?" And then she takes off and says that she's gonna go swimming, and she knew where he was. She ends up saving him. They're like, "How'd you know?" She's like, "I was gonna go swimming, and I just saw bubbles." And
yeah.
then she
She
gets to
ran off
start.
because she's like, "Papa, I can't volunteer, so I'm gonna go become a professional swimmer to get my star
Hmm.
or something." Then she takes off. She like does this superhero dive into the water to try to save the boy.
And then she can't even swim.
Realizes she can't swim, so she starts to drown too. And thankfully, Lloyd comes by and saves both of them.
Say, because they didn't care that she couldn't swim. It was just the fact that she jumped in.
Yeah.
And then she was able to get the attention of Lloyd. And so that goes into the next chapter. Well, the end of that chapter ends with with her star at school, and she's showing it off. She goes by Starlight Anya now,
Yep.
and Becky says that's getting annoying, but she does it because I mean, Anya calls her Milady for
Hmm.
no apparent reason at this point
Yeah.
that she didn't ask to. And then the next chapter, it's Damien and her. They're all at school. Well, that's the main focus is Damien and her. But she's at school. Everyone's talking like, "Oh, she probably cheated to get it. She probably pushed kid in." And Damien's like, "If you guys think that low of Eden, then you need to find a different school." And that makes
Yeah.
me more mad knowing that she got it a proper way and not cheating her way through.
Which was kind of Damien's way of sticking up for Anya,
Oh yeah,
in my opinion.
say because Eden's his dad's baby essentially, and he's
Hmm.
like, no, that's not. She was getting bullied for wearing the pin to school, which I think is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
They're obviously just jealous that she
I
that she
mean, it
got
was
one.
a new record for
Yeah, she got
the quickest time to get
fast
a
as can be.
star. Yeah.
And then we go to rewards. Becky's like, "What are you gonna get for a reward?" She's like, "I don't know, peanuts. I didn't know I was getting a reward."
Yeah.
Becky's like, "No, that's not enough." And then what she asked for, a castle.
A
And she's like,
castle.
"No, that's too much." Even though she got a tank, a house in the front yard. So
Yeah.
then she's like, maybe a long supply of peanuts. And she said, "It's not
A
enough."
year a year supply of peanuts. Becky's like, "Is that what you really want?"
Yeah.
She's like, "The last reward I got was a dog. Are
And
you
then
sure you want
Anya was
peanuts?"
like, "Oh, I want a dog." She thinks, I was like, "Oh," because Damien says she has a dog, or
Mhm.
it gets brought up
Well,
somehow.
she thinks Damien has a dog. So
What?
when Damien was walking by, she's like, second son, do you have a dog?"
Yeah,
He's
she
like, "Why
said
would I
she
tell you?"
asked, and then yeah, she said, "Who cares? Don't talk to me." And then she reads his mind. It's like Max, and then it goes into her thought, like, "Oh, I have a dog too. Oh, mine's cuter." And then bring it over and your parents. Thinks
Yeah.
that that's gonna
Bring
be
it
world
over
peace.
and bring your dad.
But then Lloyd does end up thinking. She brings it up. She's like, "I was thinking about a reward," and then she brings up the dog. Yours has terrible memories of dogs being an assassin. So yeah, I don't know. Dogs are a very big responsibility. And she's thinking that
Hmm.
they can be vicious. Then Lloyd's like, "It would help with security around here." And then they end up settling. Anya wants a small dog. Lloyd's like, "Oh, they can help, but kind of." And
Hmm.
yours like, "Oh, at least I can kill it." But at the end of
It
the
was pretty
chapter,
funny in the animation because when Anya said she wanted a dog, Yor thought of like a big dog, like chewing on Anya like a toy.
yep, she did say they're ferocious. And
Yeah,
it showed
and
that.
then Anya said a small dog, and then Yor thought of a small dog holding a knife in its mouth, like jumping, trying to cut
Oh,
Anya.
I missed that. It's on the screen
Yeah,
and I completely
it was
missed that.
pretty funny when I saw that.
Yeah, I completely missed that. And then they talk about pet shops and it cuts to two people in a pet shop. And after it shows all the dogs and everything being treated poorly, it cuts to Anya pointing at dogs on the page. This one and this one and this one. And yours like, "Oh, it looks like I can kill him." So she's not worried about that, but it shows this big, gross dog at the end.
It's a big white dog, bro.
It looks gross. Like dirty feet.
Well, all the dogs there looked pretty gross.
He just looks kind of chill. So
Yeah,
that I'm guessing that's the dog they end up going with. I
it
didn't
was
think
interesting
the
though,
dog was
because
too bad.
in the anime, I don't know if it was in the manga too. The dog had like a memory of the forgers.
Um,
It showed like static, and it showed Lloyd, Yor, and Anya all three together when it first showed the dog.
yeah, it says, "Yeah, this dog don't look all that bright, and it's so loud in here." And then the dog it twitches its ear, shows the three of them looking at it. So
Hmm.
maybe the dog can tell the future.
Maybe
It'd give a ability to the dog too.
give
Yeah, I
a
didn't
new
even put
ability
that
to the
together.
family.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't put those
I
together.
just thought that
That's
was
awesome.
pretty interesting when it popped up.
All right, well that's the volume that I read and
Hmm.
the 4 episodes you watched. What'd you think? What was your final rating
I
for
thought it was pretty good.
this section and then the whole season as a whole?
This section I would probably say was pretty good. The whole thing is definitely going up in my rating. I know I gave it like an 8.5 last
I
time.
had
I'd
that at
say it's
9.
probably a 9.5 now.
It was a solid 9 for me.
Yeah.
This section, I didn't bad for me. Right, the is immediate pages, but the section probably. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. There's really no down points. I'd say this volume alone was a 10 for me. Like a like obviously it's not like the highest of high tens.
Hmm.
Pretty plenty of volumes have had tens for me, but and then the show as a whole, I say 9.5 because it
Yeah,
ended
there
on a
was a little.
strong. They ended the season, the arc, or I don't know. I would say just be a season because an
Mhm.
arc didn't really end in the show and the reading. So that section we read and reviewed on, I'd say is a 9.5.
Yeah, there was a little extra stuff at the end of the last episode of the anime that you said wasn't in the
This
manga.
was in the next volume, so I didn't read it, and it was
Oh, it
shown as
was
a
in the next
short.
volume.
It was shown as a short mission, And all of the 17.1s are like the point ones haven't been
Yeah.
in animes for the most part, from like for kaiju for sure, for certain. So I didn't think of, well, not in the
Well,
anime, but
there was even more stuff that wasn't in 17.1. I think it was mostly just filler
mm-hmm. Go
because
ahead and
we
talk about that.
both looked at 17.1 and we see the stuffed penguin, but at the end of the episodes that I watched at the end of 12, it shows the forgers Lloyd hears their neighbors talking about how bad Lloyd is of a father because Anya is neglected. They never see them out as a family together. But Lloyd is also picking up like a ton of missions for Wise for his agency. And Lloyd decides that he's going to stop picking up missions so he can spend time with his family. So he tells his family that one weekend they're going to go to the aquarium. And it shows the whole aquarium. And it shows that Anya loves penguins. And uh, Lloyd gets a mission while going to the aquarium that one of the penguins has a capsule with information in it about like new chemical weapons or something. So I just thought that whole section was it was a pretty good section. I mean, it
Mm.
just showed Lloyd going under disguise again, and it showed Yor kicking somebody's head through the roof. But other than that, it was pretty much just filler. I mean, it didn't add any more like any new details about the family or anything. So
Mm. That's interesting. I'll probably go and watch that section. These are it's at the end of episode 12.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably end up watching it then. Anything else? Any of the small stuff we missed? I feel like we said we're for this. We said we're gonna hit all the big
hmm Yeah, I feel like we
small stuff
covered
is
pretty much
cool.
all of it.
But yes, watch Spy Family.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely.
worth it. It's I know if you've been watching this, sticking around, kind of know everything that happened, but we're definitely missing some stuff, and it's worth the watch if you ask me. I gave it a
hmm
9.5. He gave it a 9 or a 9.5. So trust what we say, and you think that it's gonna be good. I would say go ahead and give a watch. That being said,
Absolutely.
I'm good. All
I'm
right.
ready for October for the next set of episodes.
Same. The next D2 special has not been confirmed. We were thinking One Punch, but I think we're gonna switch gears to. Were we thinking Chainsaw Man, or since that's coming out in October, were we waiting on that?
I believe we're gonna do a watch party for both Spy Family and Chainsaw Man once those episodes come out, so you guys can look forward to that. Uh, Another part of the D2T2 group, we are planning on doing another short for, I believe it's when paranormal battles became
Yes.
commonplace.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, and then we'll figure out something. We might surprise y'all with
Yeah,
what the next D2 special will be. So
yeah, just stay tuned.
we'll be back about a week. See you
Yep.
guys then.